Hey guys, Shanna Cramer here with today's painting, the box jellyfish. This particular type of jellyfish is a glowing jellyfish. We are going to make this starting out with a black canvas. So if you haven't yet, go ahead and paint your canvas black. If you're tracing yours, go ahead and download your tracing stencil. If you are sketching yours, go ahead and take out a chalk pencil and get your lines sketched on there. Some of the tools that we'll be using for this painting today are going to be the fan brush. We have a liner brush. This is a 1/2-inch filbert brush, 1-inch filbert brush, also my small round. Then with the paint colors, this is a nice simple painting with basic colors. We're using ultramarine blue, ivory black, titanium white, glazing liquid. As always, keep your cup of water handy, keep your paper towel handy, and we're going to go ahead and get started. If you are a drawer, and you can just take a pencil and just sketch it onto your canvas, that is going to be by far the best way to do it. If you are not a drawer and you just want to get to the painting, then I'm going to show you a way to transfer your printout onto your canvas. All right, so I have my printout here. I'll set the black canvas aside. That's why we can't use the regular transfer sheet on there, is because the canvas is already black. I have a piece of white chalk. Any color chalk can work. Apply liberal amounts of chalk to the back of your paper, behind the image. We're essentially creating a transfer paper here. Use a lot of chalk. All right, so now I have a lot of chalk and a lot of chalk dust, so I'll just dump this off onto the garbage. Flipping over my jellyfish image. Place that on the canvas where you want it to go. Tape it down if you feel like it. And take a pencil and get tracing. Now this jellyfish has probably way too much detail. So just get the basics. You don't need to have every single little piece of it on there. Get the arms. And box jellyfish have 4 arms, so if you ever get lost making your squiggles, just count to 4. And then the tentacles. Box jellies have short tentacles. Maybe you don't even need to draw any of these at all. All right, let's see how it transferred, and there you go. Now we have our image transferred. All of this extra chalk on the paper will come off. We can paint over this, and then when we're done with it, all you do is take a damp cloth and just wipe it off, and it will remove all of the remaining chalk. I hope this helps, and let's get painting. And then this is my glazing medium. Normally when you're working with acrylic paints, water is always your medium. This is just a little bit of a bonus because with this jellyfish we'll be using a lot of true blends and some faux blends, but with the true blends the paint needs to be wet. So I'm using this glazing medium to help keep the paint wet a little bit longer. So I'll start out with probably my big fat brush here. Always use the biggest brush you can. Okay, just getting some water on that brush so I can start mixing my paint. We're using opaque paints to make a transparent effect. So to do that, we want to make sure that we're using colors that are slightly different from the background. Our background being black, our jellyfish is going to glow blue. So I'm starting with my bluish blackish background color here, and then adding the tiniest amount of white to it because I just want to lighten it up a little bit, being that this is the first layer. Okay, so I'm just starting right along the back of that jellyfish, or the hood it's also called. Not also called, it is called. And it's just a slightly different color from the background, so it's lifting it slightly. And I am going to go ahead and paint over this all. I'll just get my lines back when I need to. All right. So now I've got the first layer, and that is the hood that goes on the top of the jellyfish. Now we have our second layer, which is going to be slightly lighter. And that's going to be kind of the more of the body of the jellyfish. So we're getting into where their stomach cavity would be. Who needs to know all this, right? It's a jellyfish. They're pretty. Okay, so we've got another layer here. Where it's layered up, it's going to be brighter. Okay, back to the more blue. The more transparent areas are going to be more of a bluish black. Where these legs are, arms I mean, it's going to be a little lighter. I just want to get that blue in there. Okay, touch more white, just a touch. Not going to go overboard, just a touch. Okay, so here's where we have some layers. So this is going to be even brighter. Okay, we've got some layers coming down with those arms. Okay. Get some more of those mid-tones in there. Where we've got the layers. This will get a little darker down here. This will get a little darker down in here. All right, so now we've got a couple of layers in there. And let's just take that and brighten it back up again in a few spots, because we already know that when there are multiple layers, it's going to get a lot brighter. So right here, it's going to be bright. Here, it's going to be bright. Here we've got the layer inside of the jellyfish that's going to be brighter. The center area is mostly blue. Here, just using a soft brush to add the touches of glow. All right, and that is probably the extent to what we can do with this large brush. From here on out, we're going to have to switch to a slightly smaller brush so we can get better detail. I have a very similar brush, a smaller filbert brush that's half the size. Let's see. I'm going to take a slightly lighter blue. Get kind of right on the outside edge of this jellyfish where the glow is the strongest. Around both edges here. And this is kind of where we wanted our true blend. We'll faux blend over this because a faux blend is easier to control. too much right there. A little more white over here. All right, and then we'll get that blue glow happening right up on this top edge. Rinse a little bit of that excess paint out of the brush, picking up some of the blending medium, and then coming back to that area I just painted. And I do want to blend that out slightly there, because it should be a glow, but it shouldn't be super, super bright. There we are. Now we've got a glow on our jellyfish. Let's move on to some of those legs. All right, taking a little bit of blue, a little bit of black. We want it to be a little bit lighter than it is right now, but actually we might have extended the usefulness of this particular brush. Onward. So I'll start out with my small round. I don't want this too light yet. There's nothing in this painting that's going to be pure white, and I don't want to brighten it up too much right away. I'm just trying to add some little squigglies in here. Their arms are going to be smooth on one side and squiggly on the other. Thin that out a little more. Thin it out a little more yet. This brush might not be small enough. Jellyfish are really fun to paint, kind of like koi. If you haven't painted any koi yet, we do have a koi paint along in our membership at creativelyuncorked.com. If you're a member, you might have access to it already. And koi, man, those are just super, super fun to paint. Just can't even believe how fun they are. Jellyfish are kind of along the same lines, because you can get really kind of crazy with them and just look at all the fun little wiggly things you can do. The hardest part, I think, is just going to be keeping the transparent look. But if you can do that, you can get away with pretty much anything. And the trick to getting the transparent look is just make sure your colors are similar to the background. I didn't use pure blue and white on this. I used black and blue and then a little bit of white on that, and then add a little more white with each layer. And go ahead and make a lot of layers. The more layers you have, the more transparent it will look. Believe that or not, give it a try. Prove me wrong. Okay, and then last layer here, I think I'll get a little bit more white yet if I can. And All right, I think that's enough with that brush. I don't think I can do any more. So now I'm switching to my littlest brush. Fade that back a little if I can. Okay, now I'm using the long skinny liner. Let's see. Maybe we can just make some bonus sparkles here. He's got all these. There. A slightly lighter color in there. And mixing water and this medium in there because I do want my paint to be a little thinner and therefore easier to control. And the medium is just to keep the paint wet. There we go, and then this is my brightest color, that will be my brightest glow. All this you're seeing down here is still just chalk. I haven't painted that yet. Give it a good old scribble. Ooh. There, just wanted to glow on the edges on that one, and I think it is. There, this little brush is working a lot better for those little frilly edges. With your liner brush, one thing that you're not going to be able to do with it is just drop it in your water and leave it there like you do with the rest of your brushes. It will ruin them. So rinse them out right away and set them aside, let them dry flat. As always, take it and wash it with soap when you're done with your painting session. I just want more squiggles in here. They're just the prettiest parts. Okay. So I know I have my fine little, they're just like tiny little hairs for these, where the chalk is right now for the tentacles. But before we get to the tentacles, I have a really, really bright spot right up here where the real glow of that jellyfish comes in. So I want to get a really light, some more white, mix it in. Like I said, there's nothing here that is pure white. This is just the brightest glow on the jellyfish. So get some thicker paint there, a little lighter blue. Okay, and if you've seen a box jellyfish from the top, they have like little horseshoe shapes kind of. And they are right along in here. And when those shapes are right on the very top, you're looking at them from the side, you're still getting the idea because they are still glowing, of course, and you can see through them, but not quite the same. So here's one way over here. You're going to be able to start seeing the loop that it makes. And then right here's the big final. A little more water, a little more paint. And this comes around here. And right around there. Well, I'd say that looks like it's glowing, wouldn't you? Okay, and with these little tentacles coming out of the jellyfish, I don't think this is the right brush. Let's see. Well, first of all, let's make sure we have enough paint. We do want this to be a little bit darker, so it's going to be black and blue, touch of white. Keep it thin. Okay, and I'll try it again with this. We'll see what we can do. Maybe I can just use just the edge of it and just, ooh, way too thick. Let's give it a try. And box jellyfish have short little tentacles. Like you can, I'm always afraid to swim up too close to jellyfish because, they might have long tentacles that you can't see. Not so with the box jellyfish. They're actually very short tentacles, so you really don't have to worry too much. Anyway, it's the arms that are stinging. In case you go swimming in a jellyfish-infested water sometime soon. I'm hoping to. Well, I guess I'm not necessarily hoping for jellies. Sharks, though. Kitty cat. Let's get this a little darker if we can. Oop. Yeah, dark like that. I like these over here a lot better, so let's see if we can get that happening again over on this side. Well, I think we're nearly done here. Let's see if we can add a few touches to like enhance this glow over here. Yep, that looks like it's glowing. All right, then over here we'll get a few. These are just the final touches now. The jellyfish, you mainly just gotta keep it wiggling, right? And it's going to be the most opaque right in here where the legs, or the arms, I'm sorry, where the arms meet the body. And this will come right down because that is the arm that we're seeing. This as well. This will be bright here because this is the arm. Get a little bit of a glow here and there. Don't want to go too overboard on this because I don't want to lose the transparent look. I think we're doing okay with the transparency right now. Okay. Let's see. All right. I can see now that I've got a few splatters. So what you do with your chalk lines then, any chalk that you have left, first let this sit and dry completely. So, I mean, maybe even wait until tomorrow. And then take a damp, not wet, just a slightly damp paper towel and just lightly brush the top of this canvas. And it's going to lift off all of your chalk lines. And as far as the little white splatters over here, maybe those are just little white splatters. Or if you want to, you can go and repaint all that black again. And that's probably what I'll do, is just make sure it's all a similar color in the background. And I'm going to call this one finished. What do you think? Box jelly? All right. Thank you for painting with me today, and I will see you next time.